Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something I think a lot of us can relate to: how to stop letting everything get to you so much. If you feel overwhelmed by, well, just about everything, we're going to explore how to reclaim your inner peace. Let's get into it. Does this quote just hit you right where you live? That feeling of pure exhaustion from overthinking, from caring too much, from reacting to everything? You know exactly what we're talking about. But here's the thing. This isn't some deep character flaw. It's just a pattern. And the great news is, any pattern that you learned, you can unlearn. So first things first, let's just put a name to this invisible weight you've been carrying around, because honestly, you can't put something down until you realize you're holding it. It all starts with just feeling emotionally depleted, right? Where you wake up and you're already feeling tense. And even the smallest interactions, the tiniest things, feel like they take a monumental effort. You're just worn out by noon. And then that weight gets so much heavier because your mind gets stuck in these loops. Replaying conversations from yesterday, second-guessing every little decision, looking for some hidden meaning that, let's be honest, probably isn't even there. It's just mentally exhausting. And if you're an empathetic person, oh wow, it's on a whole other level. You don't just feel your own stuff deeply. You absorb everyone else's. You walk into a room and you can just feel the stress, the sadness, and you end up carrying it like it's your own. This quote, man, it just captures the cost of all this perfectly. When you feel responsible for making everyone else happy, it's just not sustainable. You're the one left feeling completely drained, probably taken for granted, and just struggling to keep your own head above water. Okay, so we've put a name to the feeling. We get it. But now let's dig a little deeper and talk about the why. What are these hidden psychological patterns that get our brains so stuck in these draining cycles? So, a huge part of this actually comes down to our biology. Our brains have something called a negativity bias. It's basically an ancient hardwired alarm system that was designed to protect us from, tigers in the bushes. But in our modern world, that same system goes into overdrive over social anxieties, making a weird look from a coworker feel like a life or death threat. See, your brain absolutely hates uncertainty. It hates a vacuum. So it just rushes in to create a negative story to fill in the gaps. Somebody doesn't text you back right away, and your mind doesn't go, oh, they must be busy. No, it jumps straight to the worst-case scenario. But you have to remember, these are just stories. They're not facts. So why on earth do we get so stuck in these loops? Well, it's kind of weird, but that familiar pain can feel strangely safe. Your brain actually prefers what it knows, even if what it knows is painful. And sometimes letting go of the worry feels irresponsible, right? As if worrying is somehow helping the situation. And this right here is the big breakthrough. Your thoughts are just mental events. They're like clouds passing in the sky. They aren't commands, and they are definitely not reality. The second you stop treating every single thought as the absolute truth, that's the moment you start to find your freedom. All right, so understanding the what and the why is huge. That's half the battle. But now for the really good stuff. Let's build the how. A practical toolkit with strategies you can actually use starting today to reclaim your power. The witness practice is a total game changer. Instead of becoming your emotions, you learn to just observe them. So first, you name it. Okay, this is disappointment. Then you create a little distance. Instead of I am angry, you say I notice anger. And finally, you just feel where it is in your body. That little bit of space you just created, that's where your freedom is. Okay, when your world feels like it's just spinning into chaos, I want you to stop and ask yourself this one simple question. It's your anchor. It immediately pulls your focus away from all the external stuff you can't control and brings it back to your own inner world, where you always have a choice. And this is that powerful shift in action, right? You can't control what other people think of you. You just can't. But you can control how you speak to yourself. You can't always control a deadline, but you can control how you use your time in this very moment. When you focus on what you can control, you turn on the rational part of your brain, and that feeling of being overwhelmed starts to shrink. Now, I know this is going to sound completely backwards, but stick with me here. Instead of fighting your anxiety, try welcoming it. Seriously. Saying thank you to that feeling just short-circuits the whole resistance loop that actually feeds the anxiety. It's a surprisingly powerful way to just loosen its grip. So what happens when you actually start practicing these things? Well, it's not just about feeling a little less stressed. something much more profound begins to happen. A deeper transformation starts, and the person you were always meant to be starts to emerge. But I have to be real with you, this journey isn't always easy. Letting go of those old patterns, old identities, maybe even some old relationships, it can really feel like a kind of grief. You might have to mourn the person you used to be to make space for the person you're becoming. And here's what's so important to remember. This isn't about becoming some brand new person from scratch. Real authenticity is more like an act of uncovering. It's about chipping away all those layers of self-doubt and people-pleasing to finally reveal the real you that's been in there the whole time. So what does that actually feel like in your day-to-day life? Well, that constant overthinking starts to be replaced by a quiet confidence. That desperate need for approval from others, it gets replaced by a deep trust in yourself. You start setting boundaries and you do it without feeling guilty. Because your peace, finally, comes from within. It isn't shaken by the world around you anymore. Look, the power to change this story isn't something you have to go out and find. It's been inside you all along. These tools, they just help you unlock it. The old patterns do not have to write your future. The page in front of you is blank. So how are you going to write it?